Sometimes I watch a game, and when it finishes, I genuinely don't know what to think. And that was yesterday. This is today's Raw Reaction Show. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys and girls for another episode of what is indeed the Arsenal Raw Reaction Show, joining you the morning after the evening before, which was Arsenal 3, Kairat Almaty 2. I think he said nil, as if that was what it should have been. What an absolutely astonishingly mad game. What a ridiculous game. I guess when you look across all the European fixtures last night, it kind of makes a bit of sense. There was so much chaos yesterday, like so much brilliant. European football really did reclaim its kind of magical moments last night, outside of North London, of course. But yeah, a really, really entertaining evening of European drama. And for Arsenal, yes, we changed a lot of players. Yes, a lot of the fringe options were involved, and a lot of players, to be fair, that have played quite a bit of football also involved. But it wasn't really a night about how Arsenal won. It was more of a night about what happened in the game and individual performances and how players got on and what it means for the future and what it could mean for Arsenal going forward. So we're going to talk about that. There are some themes, of course, that have kind of continued. And we're talking about finishing, of course, for a long time. You know, creatively, we are creating chances, but ultimately not as frequently as we'd like it in many games, but we are creating big chances. And again, we created a lot of big chances that were not taken in any way, shape, or form. And we'll talk about all that and more. But good morning to those of you joining us live in the chat box. Thank you so much, as always, for doing so. We've got John, we've got Sruska, we've got Carl and Gary, we've got Maximius, we've got Rich and Maria, Gary, Temi, Zach. Good morning to you, to Shari, to Brad. Marky in the chat box as well. We've got Martin and Runs with Cows and Mike. Jez in the chat box. Good morning to you, to Paul, to Thomas, to Loga. Thank you so much, all of you, as always, for tuning in. Greatly appreciate you being here, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic end to your week. It's already Thursday, nearly Friday, and then it's going to be Premier League action on Saturday as Arsenal go to Leeds, looking to get back to winning ways in the Premier League, and my goodness, do they need to. Let's jump into today's slides. What a bizarre affair. What a bizarre performance. What a strange evening. Arsenal 3, Kairat Almaty 2. Arsenal could have broken the record for the number of consecutive games won by 2 or more goals, and would have done if it was not for the final seconds where Ricardinho managed to score for Kairat. A dream moment for him. I don't think I've ever seen a player smile as much as he did as a result of a team losing. Because obviously losing last night. I've never seen somebody smile as much as he did after the game, which was absolutely, in some ways, it was kind of nice. In many ways, it was obviously a bit concerning, a bit worrying, a bit frustrating for Arsenal and for the team. But in the end, the 3 points is what mattered. Arsenal claimed that 8th win in a row, which no team has ever done before in the league phase so far in the 2 seasons that it's been in effect. And Arsenal are the first team to ever do such a thing. 8 games, 24 points, the most goals scored by any team, the fewest goals conceded by any team. In fact, Kairat Almaty managed to score as many goals as any other team has done in this competition to Arsenal so far. And it's weird, isn't it? Like, they scored more goals than Bayern. They scored more goals than Inter Milan. Really bizarre, strange, really strange. And it's just how football works, I guess, sometimes. They had nothing to lose. Their fans, by the way, brilliant, absolutely amazing support from the Kairat Almaty fans in the corner. And they enjoyed their time at the game, definitely, and bring an end to their European campaign. Let's go into more of the finer details of the game, though, shall we? The lineup. I think the lineup was nearly exactly what I predicted that it was going to be. The only thing I got wrong was thinking that Gyökeres would be on the bench and Havertz might start up top, with Odegaard starting in the middle alongside Eze. That was how the midfield changed in the second half. But yeah, a really, really bizarre game, and maybe that comes about because of how much change there was. It's the first time that Arsenal have made 11 changes to the team that played in the last game. So all the players you see in front of you here, none of them started in the last game against Manchester United. And that's the first time Arsenal have made 11 changes from their last game since Arsenal played Dundalk in the UEFA Europa League, where they made 11 changes from their last game. Mustafi was captain that day. Balogun came off the bench and scored. Runarsson was in goal. So it kind of shows you just how little Arsenal do end up changing 11 players, but it shows you what Arsenal can do and can change 11 players and still have a team that looks pretty darn good despite making 11 changes. So, yeah, it was an opportunity for a lot of players who hadn't played to play. It was an opportunity for Calafiori and Havertz to get some important minutes. And there were important minutes for both of those players, but for vastly different reasons. Oh, how I have missed Kai Havertz. That first half performance was so good. I mean, the first few minutes was excellent and brilliant and amazing. Like the pass through to Gyökeres is just spot on. And then he scores himself a brilliant pass from Ben White down the right-hand side to the player as well. He nearly was stopped by Gyökeres actually from scoring. Thankfully not. But really good, well-taken goal. Should have had an assist, of course, after he scored as well to end on 3 goal contributions from the game, but had the kind of the weird moment where Gyökeres kind of nicked the ball off Martinelli before miss-hitting the shot for only Martinelli then to run in and slam the ball in the back of the net. It's so good to see him back playing in this attacking midfield role, but he kind of played almost as a second striker, which I've said for a long, long time, I think is his best position, playing as the second striker, just behind the centre forward. And he dovetailed, I thought, with Gyökeres really, really well. Never played together, but they look like they've been playing together for a long time. So, yeah, really, really impressive performance from Kai. And he's just got every asset of his game is valuable. You know, his finishing, his goal-scoring abilities, his creativity, his movement, his physicality. Really, really good performance from him. Dylan says Kai is exceptionally strong winning the ball. Viktor did well to pull the defence away for Kai in that goal as well. D says for Kai, unbelievable. He looked so sharp, great awareness, quick feet, vision was exceptional. Yeah, it's what more can you really say about Kai really than he just had a really good and encouraging performance. I would encourage you to rewatch Eberechi Eze in this game. I went through the game and I was turning to people to my right and left saying, what do you think of Eze? And the feeling was, he's had a bit of a stinker. He's not really got involved. This was a great opportunity really for Eze to have a really important and impactful game. And he didn't. And I was like, yeah, I think that's what I think as well, which I was disappointed by because I really wanted Eze to have a really good game because obviously starting is important for him to have an impact. Then on the way home, I rewatched just Eze's performance because as you know, I like to rewatch certain players when I don't think that I've necessarily absorbed their game as much. He was one of a few players that I rewatched the performances of. And I have to say, he was fantastic. He had a really, really good game. And it's one of those games where when you're kind of watching it live, I don't think you pick up on a lot of the things. I remember watching Zubimendi at Man United in the first game of the season, and it was quite similar. I didn't really appreciate Zubimendi's performance at Old Trafford in the opening day of the season. I didn't think he had a particularly great game. I rewatched it, and I rewatched just Zubimendi's influence on the game, and he was brilliant. And I missed it. And I think sometimes we miss these things in our first watch of the games, especially from my perspective. You know, my head's buried in my laptop for a lot of the game, writing the piece, writing the player ratings. Ironically, it's a strange kind of backwards world where I need to be one of the people who watches the most of the game as is possible. And yet I'm one of the people in there that sees the least of the game because I'm working at the same time as watching the game and having like 3 jobs to do throughout the game, doing the match day blog, doing the player rating, setting up the presser blog after the game, messaging people about potential stories, reacting and doing commentary on X as well. There's a lot of jobs going on in the game, and sometimes you do kind of miss things. And if I would encourage you to rewatch Eze's performance, because it was really good. The touches inside, the flicks, the progression, some really nice combination play. Created 6 chances in the game, which was more than any other player on the pitch. He had a really good game. A really good game. I still thought he was pretty casual. I thought he approached the game in a really casual way. I did want him to kind of take the game by the scruff of the neck a bit more, and I want more from him, and there's a lot more that can come from him. But I actually think I was too harsh in how I rated him. I would have given him more of a 7. If I could do 0.5s, I'd probably go into 0.5s. But yeah, he was good. He had a good performance. As opposed to someone like Madueke, who I thought was a lot of show and no go. There was a lot of kind of nice touches and flicks and runs and got in behind and got into the right places. And then when it came to the key moment, didn't do the right thing, didn't take the right opportunity, skied shots, hit them wide, didn't strike the ball effectively enough, couldn't find a teammate in the key areas. It was a really odd performance from Madueke. I think obviously everyone will remember the late shot that he has that goes miles into the air. I think he's unfortunate there. The ball kind of just bobbles up as he goes to strike it, and that obviously kind of sends it really high and quite comically so. But yeah, I think it was like night and day really between Eze and Noni Madueke. Yeah, it wasn't the best performance from him. And he needed a really good one and didn't get it. But it did mean, of course, that Bukayo Saka is fully rested ahead of the weekend, which is a positive because he needs a really big performance as well. But in all of his energetic glory, Gabriel Martinelli did have a good game, which was good to see on that left-hand side because I think he needed a good game. He's had some periods of really good form this season, Martinelli. Has been like flashes of really good stuff. This was one of his better performances as well. Really energetic. Really, like if you compare his performance to say like Eze's, for instance, this is the type of performance that you notice, whereas Eze's the type of performance that you have to kind of look for more. Martinelli was all over the place in terms of not just, not in a bad way. He was just all over the place in a good way. He was making tackles. He was progressing the ball forwards. He was beating his man. He was getting the ball into dangerous position. He scores. He should have scored another and had some great opportunities to do so. But that's kind of the story of everybody's game. Everybody should have done more than we ultimately ended up doing. But yeah, it was a good performance for Martinelli. And one that will encourage him, certainly. And it continues his very fine run of form in the UEFA Champions League. Important minutes for Christian Norgaard, who I also thought had a good game. Not an amazing game. Kind of like went through the motions a little bit, but some really nice moments, actually. He created a couple of good chances. The little back heel flick that he provided just outside the box of Madueke was gorgeous. But it's one of those performances where, like, I watch him and I think, how have you not got more minutes? How are you not trusted more than you are? And I hope that it's a game that Arteta kind of looks at and goes, I can trust this guy. He deserves to be in the squad at times. We have a big squad and he's going to get left out of squads at times. But ultimately, yeah, look, really, really solid, decent performance from Norgaard. He needs more minutes. He needs more time, and I think he earned it. A little rusty, Calafiori, a little rusty. Obviously, he's not played since December 20th. Everton was his last game for Arsenal before this one. And he had a good game that day, but suffered this injury kind of in training just after that. But he looked a little rusty. The penalty he gives away is so poor. Like, it's a really, really poor penalty to give away. It's going to get flagged by VAR so often. So often. You're never going to get away with this. It's a really lazy pullback on the player's shirt. The player's entitled to go down. He goes down. But yeah, look. It'd be harsh of me to just start sitting here and saying, this is a bad performance, and, it's worrying and all that. He's just come back from injury. He's been out for a long time. He doesn't technically usually play left centre half either. So, yeah, happy with overall him being back, but it's not the game to analyse really and look at and go, yeah, not ideal. You got to give him a little bit of slack. Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about Viktor Gyökeres. First thing I'll say is that him and Havertz seems like a partnership that could work. I think that they dovetail quite nicely together. The reason why I'm laughing is because I'm just thinking back to how I watched the game. And I watched the game, obviously, in the press box with a number of other journalists around me, some of them who work with me quite closely. It's fair to say that we we had a bit of a laugh watching Viktor's performance. Look, the goal. Let's talk about the goal first, okay? So, brilliant ball from Havertz. Horrendous first touch from Gyökeres. Like, the first touch is awful. Second touch gets the ball out of his feet and does well to get the ball out of his feet. Good shot on goal. He does give the keeper a bit of a chance because he gets a hand to it, but the shot's too powerful, as is the case with most of Viktor Gyokeres' shots, and it beats the goalkeeper. Good goal, great start. You're thinking, gonna build on this, gonna move forwards, gonna take this opportunity and grow. That didn't happen. The reality is, right, a lot of people think I'm really harsh on Gyökeres. I'm not harsh on Gyökeres, and I'll stand by this to the end of to the hilt on this argument. I'm not harsh on Gyökeres. My expectations are fair for the player that we signed, right? That's my view of the situation. My expectations for the situations that he gets into is that he needs to score these chances. And some of the misses in this game were bad, like bad. The brilliant passing move on the left-hand side, Eze involved, Lewis Skelly involved, the 1-2, ball comes across. A yard out, stretching, yes, sure, but you are stretching yourself if you're trying to defend that opportunity being missed. That is a horrendous miss. That is a horrendous miss. But how that chance ends up going for a throw-in is mad to me. Like, and he never really recovered. The pass from Havertz inside that leads to Martinelli's goal, I don't really know what Gyökeres is doing when the ball kind of drops to him in the box and he slides in. Thankfully, Martinelli's there to smash it in. The chip over the goalkeeper, he's already running away to celebrate. He doesn't get enough power on the shot to lob the keeper, so the defender is able to get it away. There was a foul in the build-up anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. And then Jesus comes on, and Jesus just makes my head hurt because, you know, it's the same thing we've been saying for a long time. We've been saying it for a long time, and that's that Jesus has got every aspect of the game for Jesus is there. Every aspect of the game of Jesus is there. But when it comes to the moment that really matters, which is his finishing, it evades him. And although he scored an offside goal, it's that run. The timing of his run's not quite there. The finish is really good, yes, but the timing of his run is wrong, and it means we don't get that goal. It means we don't get the record. He has another chance on that left-hand side where the ball kind of comes to him. Brilliant pass from Norgaard, I think it is, that puts him in. All he needs to do is just finesse the ball around the keeper, and the ball could not be hit more straight. He hits it so straight wide of the goal. He's offside anyway, so it wouldn't have counted even if it was. But this game is all about Kai because of the performance as well of Jesus and Viktor. We have been stumbling through this season with our centre forwards, and Kai's return, even though he played the attacking midfield role, I sincerely hope that we're going to find a way to get Kai playing the centre forward position for the rest of this season. Look, people are harsher than me when it comes to Viktor. Some people already want to see him sold. I'm not willing to have that conversation now, really, until the end of the season. We'll have a conversation about that then. But I think it's too early to have that kind of conversation about Viktor. But even though he scored, it wasn't a good game from Viktor Gyokeres. Like it was a bizarre game, really strange game. It wasn't a good game because he had to end this game with 3 or 4 goals to encourage, with the chances that were there, the chances that are on a plate. He had to finish this game with more than this single goal and didn't. And the chances that came to him that he missed, are concerning, because the one thing that we have got to rely on is the goal scoring. The goal scoring is what he signed him for. And ultimately, that's just not quite clicking for him at the moment. And I hope it does. I'm desperate for it to. I really, really am desperate for it to. And when he scored inside the first couple of minutes, I was like, brilliant. He can go on, have a great game, score 3-4 goals. And it's as simple as that. People are saying that Martinelli nicked one. Martinelli didn't nick one. Martinelli made sure. Gyökeres should have finished that comfortably. Didn't. It needed Martinelli to put it in the back of the net. Ball might have been rolling in, but it should be finished anyway. So I have no issues with Martinelli coming in and making sure that happens, because who knows what would have happened if he wasn't there. I just, yeah, look, I'm sorry, but if you think there's some agenda, there isn't. I just have high expectations based on the signing we have. If you're defending that performance for a number 9 who is built upon scoring goals and is there just to score goals, that says more about you for me. And there's no agenda here. I'm just objective. Both our centre forwards who played in this game are poor. The best players in this game for us, obviously, first of all, is Kai. Second of all, is Eze for me, based on the performance that we've seen around that. But the worst performers on that day were Viktor, Jesus, and when he came on, Norgaard didn't have a particularly great game. Once again, which is a really big concern. You know, it's a concern for me. If I'm starting a kind of attacking midfielder, if my lineup for the weekend, which I'll talk more about, of course, on Saturday, but I've said this, I think Martin needs to be taken out of the limelight. I think he needs to be taken out for a little bit. I think he needs to be protected. Havertz starts for me, you know, either at 10 or at centre forward. As long as Havertz is starting in this game, great. Arteta said after the game that he expects him to be kind of banging down his door. And he should be, but Norgaard shouldn't be in the starting 11, I don't think, at the weekend. He probably will be, but he shouldn't be. And if it was up to me, I'd start Kai if he's fit enough to, and if the reaction to this game, and we'll see how his body reacts in the next 24 hours. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. The biggest problem this team has is not creativity this season. The biggest problem this team has this season is finishing. And that is so evident by the amount of chances that we are creating this season in every single game that we play, and we're not scoring them. So, yeah, we need to make sure that we are improving in many, many areas between now and the end of this season. Otherwise, that title could elude us. 2 really important debuts. Really nice to see debutants. I think it was our 18th and 19th debuts made under Mikel Arteta. Ibrahim had just signed a professional contract. He made his debut as well, and getting on slightly before him was Brando Bailey-Joseph. Really unlucky for him. The ball came into him quite quick in the box, couldn't quite get the right touch, could have been in, could have got a goal himself. I didn't give either of them a rating. I don't think it would have been fair. But yeah, great to see 2 more senior debuts. Again, nice to see that kind of whole Arteta doesn't give youth a chance rubbish really being put to bed quite consistently. So that's the way forwards. Just on how we are then with the Champions League. I am happy with the 4 opponents that Arsenal can get in the last 16. Bayer Leverkusen, Atalanta, Borussia Dortmund, and Olympiacos. They are our 4 potential opponents for the last 16. I'd love to go to Dortmund personally. That's a completely selfish hope and dream. It's a dream of mine to go to the Borussia Dortmund Stadium, and I sincerely hope that it's something that I might be able to do one day. It's not the best for Arsenal. Of course, Olympiacos would be the best for Arsenal. We've already beaten them this season, and we would hope to, of course, do that again. But Olympiacos are almost destined to play Arsenal, it seems. But that would mean that they would need to beat, I think, Borussia Dortmund in... would they need to beat Borussia Dortmund? I think maybe. And Leverkusen would need to... No, I think it's... What is it? It's 15 and 16, and it's kind of done in pairs, isn't it? So I'm not sure now. I thought it was... It might be the other way around. Maybe it's 16 and 18. I don't know. Anyway, it's one of those 4. The worrying reality is that the likelihood is that we might get Manchester City in the quarterfinal if we make it. That could be a reality. It's either going to be Man City, Sporting, Inter, Real Madrid, Glimt, or Benfica. That's who it's looking likeliest to be at this point in time. So I guess we will wait and see what happens. But yeah, very, very interesting to see how our pathway is. And I believe it's on Friday. I think so. I think it's on Friday that we get the I think this is from Friday that we get the answers to the brackets. I think it might be after the playoffs, but I thought it was on Friday. But we'll wait and see. But yeah, the Friday will tell us the brackets, I think. So really confusing scenario, but we'll know more in the coming days. So let's hope it unveils itself. Of course, there's nothing confusing about the brilliance that NordVPN will provide you and yours and those close to you by using its amazing safety and security features on the internet and the interwebs. If you want to keep yourself safe and secure whilst you are indeed on the internet and interwebs, then you need to go to nordvpn.com/Gooner and get yourself a significant discount off a 1 or indeed a 2-year plan by going to nordvpn.com/Gooner and get yourself a significant discount off a 1 or a 2-year plan. Listen to your favourites while you're abroad. Perhaps you're going to be following Arsenal in the Champions League a little bit later on in the competition into the knockout rounds. Well, you'll need a NordVPN subscription while you're abroad so that you can indeed listen to your favourites. And maybe you'll be using some public Wi-Fi services in the hotel that you're staying in, the cafe that you're relaxing in, or maybe the bar that you're enjoying yourself in. But any of the public Wi-Fi services that you use makes you vulnerable. So give yourself that umbrella of protection that NordVPN will give you. Right, let's go to part 2, your questions and more right after this. Right, let's go to part 2. Go into the chat box, tackle some of your questions. I think that we need to scroll up a little bit because I've probably missed some of your questions while we're going through part 1. So bashing Ink Gare. What a name. Says, wow, Tom, how surprising that you need Martin to be protected but can't protect Viktor. Spelt wrong. How surprising that anyone who criticizes me about Viktor Gyökeres can't seem to even spell the guy's name correctly. It happens all the time. I swear I just criticized both of them. So I don't really know where that comment comes from. Keith says, Gyökeres hate to deflect from beloved Erdogan. Where's this? I like people closing their ears to like what I'm saying. Are other people noticing this? If I'm critical of both of them, we somehow still get comments saying I'm protecting Norgaard, even though I've said he's not been very good and shouldn't start. Like, I don't really get it. That's strange, isn't it? I guess that's probably the biggest reveal of, and I don't like the word, but like the whole agenda thing. But I think when you say agenda, it's a bit embarrassing because I think when you say someone has an agenda and so therefore they can't have an opinion about somebody because the agenda is too powerful for that, I think that's arrogant. I think where the word agenda is appropriate is where you listen to someone say, he was bad and he was bad. And then the person's reaction to the person saying he was bad and he was bad was to say, why are you protecting that guy? Huh? I was critical of both of them. I don't really know. I think some people are just desperate. And I always find at the moment as well, like, I don't know where it's coming from. And I assume it's because you maybe watch, maybe other people are saying stuff. I don't get it. But I don't know where it's. Oh, and I should say, by the way, regarding people saying stuff, you may have seen, and I did highlight this on my Instagram story yesterday, there was a story going around about supposedly Arteta leaving and Cesc joining Arsenal, and people were putting my name next to it. I don't know where this has come from. I've never said anything like that. If you could do me a favor and just report that account, if you ever see it, or report anybody that's circulating that story, it's a load of rubbish. I've never said that. I've never reported that, but some people are putting my name next to it. I don't know why. Yeah, just do us a favor and report it because it's not true. So hopefully I've cleared that up. Max says, Tom, apparently you're an Arteta hater. Yeah, I got called an Arteta hater yesterday. Me? I got called an Arteta hater yesterday, which was hilarious. It shows you, doesn't it? It shows you that people can kind of just listen to little snippets, I guess, of what you've got to say and then make an entire judgment about how you feel about individual things. Arsenal CSA says, Tom, have you jumped on the boat already? Gyökeres is our top Goal scorer. Well, he should be really, shouldn't he? He should be. He is our striker. It's when we say top goal scorer, it's a little bit like saying, what's kind of the comparable argument? It's a little bit like saying, oh, the goalkeeper with the most clean sheets is David Raya. Because he's the centre forward that's played the most games. He should be our top goal scorer, but the number of goals, of course, that's been scored is not exactly anything to write home about at the moment. And obviously, when we look at the chances and the chances missed, it should be a lot higher. Let's go to a battery. Says, "Lol, Tom is media trained to an extent where he can't ask questions." I've never been media trained. That's not what media trained is. The media don't get media training. That's not how media training works. It's the footballers and athletes get media training. The media doesn't need media training because it's people who the media speak to that get media training because of media. So again, it always makes me laugh when people don't really know how things work. Biko says, Tom, I was really frustrated by the rhetoric that surrounded Havertz and his impact. The number of people that said he wasn't great for us, not the answer. Yeah, look, anyone who watched that Havertz performance and was critical of Havertz, I mean, that is just funny. Like, that's just funny at the end of the day. Oh, it says, Tom, do you finally concede that Semenyo would have been better to buy than Noni? Finally concede. Gotcha. What's this obsession that people have? Would now we have liked to have signed Semenyo? Absolutely. Do you finally concede, sir? Have you cast down your sword? Do you finally concede? So, honestly, the way that football kind of discussions happen in 2026 is brilliant. Jay says, do the media training people that get media trained get trained on training people on media training? It's a really good question, Jay. It's a really, really good question. Mr. Speaker, says Brock. Yeah. Do you concede, sir? Do you concede, finally, your point, your argument, your opinion on this footballing matter? Why, sir, yes, I would argue. I would not wish to offend, but I feel as though that people's opinions are allowed to change. You know, it's important. You have a mind. If you have a mind, you are encouraged to change it. Otherwise, what is doth point? I can't speak Old English. I'm trying my best. D says that Havertz's performance was him on his return to midfield for the first time in almost 2 years. People forget that. He has played up top or has been injured the last time he played there. That was Havertz's first start for Arsenal in 357 days. 357 days. I think that any genuine agendas out there were revealed yesterday around Havertz. Amira says, I feel like Gyökeres plays his best football when he's not given time to think. He seems to play on instinct, and the snail speed that we play at in the Premier League doesn't help. What's interesting about that, though, Amira, is that he actually, I think, has said that, not that he was said, but a lot of the defence of the missed chance yesterday was that the ball came in too quick for him. So I guess that kind of contradicts that point. But, yeah, difficult. Abby says, Madueke needs IQ training. That's not a thing. I don't think is IQ training a thing. I don't think you can train your IQ. I think you just have. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought you just have an IQ. You can intelligence training. I guess you can do, but IQ. I don't think. Can you change your IQ? Can you improve your IQ? No, I guess you can. I certainly have got a low one if I'm asking that question. But I don't think it's about IQ training. I think it's to do with it's the execution of his decision making. You can boost it. A lot of you are saying you can improve your IQ. I just thought you had an IQ. Mine's not very high. I just thought you had an IQ, and that's just kind of like what your IQ is like. But maybe you can. Those brain training. Oh, yeah, I mean, back in the day, you used to Nintendo DS used to brain training, didn't you? Does that raise your IQ? I guess maybe it does. D says you can't train IQ. IQ is a measurement. Well, there you go. But then Loka says, of course you can. We're going to go down a rabbit hole now. We've got people on two sides of the coin now saying yes and no. John says, how many top European sides would play Big Viktor? Barcelona, no, PSG, no, Bayern, no, Madrid, no. So why are Arsenal? Well, Arsenal are because they've bought him and they've spent a lot of money on him, and they do need to try and find him some form. Look, let's not pretend he hasn't had the opportunity, because he definitely has. And I think the whole service argument that people tried to peddle obviously has gone out the window. But yeah, look, he needs more time. He needs to continue to be given time. He needs to be given the opportunity. The concern I have with Viktor, right, is that I think what the issue with Viktor is something that you cannot improve. And I think that the technical level of Viktor Gyokeres is not of the level that Arsenal require. And I'm not sure it's ever going to be. That's my worry. People take that and think that's me bashing the guy too harshly, but that's what I feel having watched him, is just that the technical level, his first touch, is just not of the level that I think he will ever get to the right required standard at his age, in this environment that we need our number 9 to have. That's my feeling based upon having watched him in every game so far this season. Backen says, do you feel that when Norgaard receives the ball high up the pitch, he slows down to bring everyone else into the structure but sets up the opponent in a low block? I would like to see him be more urgent, more quick, more brave at times, definitely. And that, in result, does slow things down. I want to see him be more urgent, be more instinctive. Look, and that's not to say that Eze doesn't do that as well. He does. Eze is quite casual and in the way that he performs and plays. And I'd like him to be a little bit more riskier and proactive and quicker and more urgent as well. So both of them, definitely, I want to see more from both of them in that essence. Tenacious says, yes, even Mensa members and prospective members of practice with IQ exercises, puzzles, and brain teasers to improve their performance, as these skills can be honed. There you go. Some insights from behind the scenes. Still, people are going off on the IQ thing. We do go off on tangents here, don't we? Mike says, Gyökeres' technical level is abysmal. I thought his striking would negate that, though. Rich says, Tom, any thoughts on Ife and Brando? I thought Ife, I think it's IFE rather than EFE. It's IFE. Might be someone who can quietly play his way into the first team on the back of his reliability and decision-making. Difficult to see either of them really, Rich, kind of making it. Ife's kind of, your defensive midfielder when you've got Zubendi and Norgaard and Rice and all these players. It's going to be very hard for him to get an opportunity in the team on a regular basis. But opportunities like this don't come around too often. Wigan are coming up in the FA Cup. Another good opportunity. Arsenal forever says, Norgaard can't live up to expectations. The pressure is too big for him to feel. Excuse me. I just think that the way I'm at with Martin is that I know what he can do. But the difference is why he gets more of kind of a longer leash, a significantly longer leash for me than Viktor, is that I know what he is capable of. I know what he can do. He's done it this season. He's done it in previous seasons. He's done it the most in 23, 24. But the reason why I have more time for players like him or players like Kai is because I've seen them do it. Players like Viktor, of course, who I haven't seen do it for Arsenal, is still where the jury remains much more out than with those two, as an example. AJ says, Tom, would you like to see Havertz or Eze feature against Leeds? Yeah, I'd start them both. start them both. Frank says, nothing wrong with Gyokeres' technical level. It's his movement and finishing. I don't agree. I think if you watch his game week in, week out, you can see what his first touch is like, how that first touch leads to the next touch. First touch to second touch is a great way of kind of assessing like those elite level players. How does it, what is the second touch? And is the second touch stretching? Are you having to make up for your first touch as a result of that? First touch to second touch, and that technical level is just not of the required standard for an Arsenal player, especially a 9 for me from what we've seen so far. So says, what has he done this season? Obviously, when he's returned from injury, those 3 goal contributions in 3 games in a row, because he missed so much of the season because of injury, was a really good impact from his return. But since those 3 games, his form has just dropped off significantly. So has Arsenal's overall. It's worth pointing out. But yeah, I do feel, I was talking to Jay about this yesterday. When Arsenal tend to play well, Ødegaard tends to have played well. But when we aren't playing well, Ødegaard tends to also have not played well. It's kind of like a mutual relationship and a feedback between the two almost. Chris says, yes, you criticise Ødegaard, but you only spent a few seconds saying he should be rested, whereas you spent a couple of minutes criticising Ødegaard, and that's why people think your criticism is unbalanced. Well, they shouldn't, Chris, because Ødegaard had a very quiet game, didn't have too many involvements at all, had the two-headed chances. But Gyökeres had a significant involvement in the game, so naturally we would spend longer talking about his actions. He scored. He missed like 2, 3, 4 sitters. So, that's obviously why. But you're right. People will think the criticism is unbalanced. But those people are wrong with respect, based upon what both players did during the game. Gyökeres was on the pitch for longer, and he was involved in the game more for bad and good reasons. So naturally, we're going to talk about one more than the other. Exactly, says Dan. Eva says, how much of Eze's performance comes from him finally playing left of centre? I think he is better on the left-hand side. He wasn't playing left wing, which is where I want him to play more, but he was playing more on the left, and maybe that is one of the reasons as to why. Is it also because Declan Rice wasn't there? Some people often talk about Declan Rice and his presence in the team, how that impacts. He's brilliant. He's our best player, in my opinion. He's our most important player. But his role, does that in some ways impact how other attacking players play? I'm not sure. I haven't seen enough to have a conclusion on that, but that's certainly something that others have posited as maybe a reason. And Rice not being there, did we see more from our attacking midfielders in this game in Havertz and Eze? We probably did. Yeah, we probably did. But it's one game, so I can't really make a judgment on that. Mr. J says, Tom, I believe that our Premier League season really starts against Leeds this weekend. It's a massive game and we have to win. Do you feel that Ødegaard doesn't grab the game by the scruff? He doesn't in some, but nowhere near enough. He's an elevator, is what Ødegaard is. Like when we're playing well, Ødegaard plays well and accentuates all the good things. But when things aren't going well, he does tend to kind of go missing as well at times. And what he is contributing isn't being seen because it's just not having the impact that we need. Let's go to John, who says, have to remember Drogba only got 9 goals in his first season for Chelsea. Sometimes it takes time. This is the only defense that people have right now. And I get it. And it's fair and it's fine. It is the only defense. It's the Thierry Henry took this long to score. Drogba took this long to score. X-player took this long to score. He's not taking long to score. He's scoring now and again. It's not about the goal record in kind of the binary, bland way of looking at how many goals per game. It's everything. It's the technical level. It's the intelligence of movement. It's the relationships. It is in aspect of that, the finishing as well. So it's not just about so-and-so took this long, because so-and-so, like Thierry Henry, just look at the technical level when he arrived still. Look at what he was doing with the ball despite not scoring. It's all around that. Gary says, are we now starting to see why... Right, guys, we need an intervention. We need an intervention. Can we have a quick intervention, please? Can we please? Because I'm starting to feel for him, not in the reasons that you think, but can we please have a bit of an intervention about this? Because it's really starting to get on my nerves. Like, I know that I hate Atletico Madrid getting said time and time again, but this, guys, this is not acceptable anymore. You need to put more of an effort in. I'm sure maybe autocorrect's doing you a bit dirty now and again, but my goodness me, can we please make some effort to at least spell the guy's name correctly? Please. If I scroll up in the chat, here's one. I'm going to keep scrolling up. I'm sure there's more as well. I mean, we literally just highlighted one, Gary. Yeah, here's another. Still scrolling up some more when we talk about Viktor. But a lot of people are now just typing Gyökeres to avoid making the mistake, I think, as well. Please, can we just start spelling his name right? Please? It's a K. It's VIK. It's not VIC. Please. Please stop spelling his. If you're going to attack me for criticizing him, at least give him the respect of defending him with his name spelt correctly, people. Please. Please. Goodness sake. Anyway, let's read out Gary's comment. Are we now starting to see why Viktor Gyökeres was not Arteta's first choice, or was that Berta Arteta divide just codswallop? If true, Arteta must have told you so. I must have said I told you so. Written, because the mistake you've made there, Gary, is that you've assumed that Arsenal Football Club is run like a YouTube chat box. It's not. No signing is ever made without a collaborative approach. Benjamin Šeško was the preference, who was the initial preference, and Arsenal and Berta and Arteta, effort was made to try and get that deal done. RB Leipzig stood very firm on their expectations, their price tag, their view in what they wanted for Benjamin Šeško. They didn't want to pay that fee. They quickly moved on to their second choice, which was Viktor, spelt with a K, and in that essence, move for him instead. So no, there's no I told you so's. There's no divide. There's no more one over the other. Yes, Berta was quite a big kind of advocate of the Viktor Gyökeres deal, but there's no, you can't just go Andrea Berta, you know. What Andrea Berta did in the summer was big for Arsenal and encourages me. There's a lot of people behind the scenes. We've now added another head of scouting, Eberechi Eze, but Arteta's involved in everything. You know, he's not the guy that goes and signs the players. Or necessarily even the player that chooses the out and out profile. He'll be involved in the discussions with the players, and he has to sign off on any signing that happens. But he's not the guy that goes and signs the players. That's on the recruitment team. That's nothing to do with Arteta. So yeah, look. There's no I told you so's going on in that essence. Nifty says, Tom, do you think that Viktor is struggling? Thank you for spelling his name right. Struggling because of the pressures of being Arsenal's striker. I'm not defending him, but I think it has played a part. Yeah, look, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, when I spoke to him myself and asked him about that, he said no. He's going to say no. He's going to say he doesn't think about that pressure. You know, he just wants to play football. But look, I am desperate for him to suddenly click and come good. That's what I want. I'm desperate because if he does well, it means that we do well. If he starts scoring loads of goals, it means Arsenal have started scoring loads of goals. I couldn't be more desperate for him to succeed. I could not be more desperate. It's not going to stop us having objective, grounded, reasonable analysis about a player's performance, despite what some people think. But I'm desperate for him to come good. Desperate for him to come good. Paul says Gyökeres needs to win the Premier League with Arsenal at the end of the season, then get a full pre-season with Arteta, and I'm sure that will maybe help him work out. Enger says, with the way Norgaard played yesterday, can we see him play more in the DM role? I hope so. I hope he comes on and replaces Zubimendi in more games. Look, Zubimendi should be starting. That's not even a debate. But absolutely, I want to see Norgaard utilised more than he is right now. Nick says, will the Premier League team result in the Champions League and end the debate that the winner in the Premier League this year is not as good as the previous winners? The last year Man United won the Premier League. Only Premier League teams reached the last 16 and only one quarter-final. It's not. I don't think it's even a debate now, to be honest. The Premier League is so by far and away the strongest league in the world, but it's probably the least entertaining right now. The Premier League has become this tactical soup of fear, and it's not a league of mavericks anymore. It's a league played by almost fear and strategy more than anything else. Teams are more scared of conceding than they are determined to score in the Premier League at the moment, and that's just kind of where we're at right now. Let's go to John says, here's my issue with Ødegaard. He holds onto the ball for too long and allows defenses to get back into shape. He's also very right-sided dominant with the play and doesn't shoot quick enough. I do like him, though, says John. Yeah, look, I think the thing about the slowing down of the play is just a theme that we're kind of touching upon a lot at the moment. He is he needs to be more urgent. He needs to turn the ball over quicker. He needs to attack more. There's no doubt there's people that just don't like him, and I think that's more of an Arteta linked thing than an Ødegaard linked thing. But yeah, we need to see more of the Ødegaard that we saw when he just came back from injury and him sustain that form. He's had 3 injuries this season, obviously, which have impacted him, I think. And I do think he's playing with a little bit of fear. He's not playing with that same kind of freedom and enjoyment that he was before the injuries from 2025. Yeah, I just feel as though that's, for me, it's had an impact on him, definitely. Blee Blah Blah says, clearly instructions were to be more direct. Can we expect Ødegaard to be this direct and take risks in the Premier League? Or it's just Ødegaard thing to be safe most of the time? He did have 2 shots on target yesterday. I think he obviously got into the box on those headers, but certainly he needs to do more. Squeezy Cake says Ødegaard has the skills of a central midfielder water carrier, and he's trying to be Bergkamp. He needs to understand that he's a Blondel Nenny and take that role instead. I mean, awful comment. Absolutely horrendous. 0 ball knowledge. But sure. Maria says, I think Viktor could be a fantastic sub now that Kai's back. That is something I want to see more, is maybe I want to see Viktor used as kind of an impact player. I want to see him used more as somebody who can come off the bench, stretch teams, add to the attack, be a bit of a chaos merchant maybe. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Chris says, Tom, we should keep on starting with Viktor every game until we lose. We have only lost 1 game when he started. It's ironic, obviously, because Ødegaard had a very similar record, but didn't get that same kind of energy, I guess. But I think it's more to do with the group rather than individual players necessarily in that essence. Jonathan says, Eze had a very good game. We need to understand his style, and he is to keep it simple, but he does brilliant things in a simple way. And Maria says also, nice sweater / jumper. Yes, it's almost like you're wearing a very similar one, Maria, in your YouTube photo. Coco says, the Premier League today is definitely affected by the potential earnings every Premier League club can make or lose every season. It then trickles down on the field. Either you field a Galactico-esque team or you park the bus. Blee Blah Blah says, Julian Alvarez in the summer. Maybe we let go of Jesus. What are your thoughts? Hey, if you said Jesus is leaving and Alvarez is coming in, give it to me. Give it to me. All day long. 100%. Unless she says, to be honest, Tom, we should relieve Ødegaard of the armband. It always makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. Always. I'm sorry. I'm not ridiculing your comment. I just find it so funny. I just find that one so funny. I just always find it so funny when people say this. It just makes me laugh so greatly. I can't take it seriously. I'm really sorry. I just can't take it seriously. Jay says, love Ødegaard on the ball, and you can only fully appreciate him if playing with or against him. My problem is that he has no long mid-range game. He'll always try and keep it short. Not always. He does. I think he spreads the play quite well. There was a great pass he played in the game against United in those first 30 minutes, which was one of those things. So, yeah, but he needs to do more. We need more. MDS says, who do you want in the knockouts, Tom? Dortmund. I'm selfish. I want Dortmund. I think we can beat them, but I'm selfishly wanting Dortmund. Dank says, it feels to me that teams need to trust each other more, especially Ødegaard. He normally wants to see the receiver's next pass before he passes to them. Other players do the same. John says, Noni reminds me of Traore. Very quick, direct, loves to take on, but needs to slow down before delivering the ball. If he does that, we will have one hell of a player. We've kind of been saying similar things about Martinelli for quite a while, and that's what I think maybe Madueke has the Martinelli gene a little bit. If you know what I mean? I think maybe we've got 2 players on those wings that are kind of like a lot of like energy and show and flair, and they can beat a man. But when it comes to decision making and execution of that final decision, there it leaves something wanting. Ben D'Agostino says, Tom, can you give your take on the round of 16? Why are we playing teams ranked 15th to 18th instead of the bottom ranked teams from 20th to 24th? Yeah, no problem. It's because of the playoff. So 9th place plays 24th place, 10th place plays 23rd place, and so on and so forth. And because we finished first, we will play the teams that finished at the bottom of the 16 and the top of the 17, because that on average are the worst teams. Think about it. If you were to play the 24th team, you could end up playing the team that finished 9th instead, which would be Real Madrid, because 9th plays 24th. So if the team that finished first plays against the team that ranks either 9th or 24th, they're probably going to be given the hardest draw. But it's the team that finishes 8th will most likely play that game instead. So that's why it's done that way. Let's go to helicopters. I think Arsenal fans from Arteta's fans and Arteta outers need to sit down in a Jubilee-style video and have a discussion. Hey, look, if you are an Arteta fan or an Arteta outer, you need to get your head screwed on a bit tighter. There's no Arteta fan or Arteta outers. It's just Arsenal, all right? No one person is bigger than this club. You need to screw your heads on. Stop just dividing yourselves into groups. It's so boring. Just be like us. Just be objective. Just if someone does a good thing, say they've done a good thing. If they're not doing a good thing, say they're not doing a good thing. Stop it with having your side. Honestly, stop wearing your opinions like they're football shirts. It's not fun. It's not clever. It's not entertaining. It's boring. Just highlights how crap it is when you talk about football in such a way. It's awful. So, yeah, good comment. Cosmo says, improved relationships on the pitch between new players only come with consistency on the starting 11. Do you worry Arteta hasn't found his preferred starting 11? I'm not worried about it, but he definitely hasn't really found his best 11 yet. I mean, when you've got a squad as big as this, is that possible? Can you have a best 11 really? Because obviously, as Arteta says quite a lot in his press conferences, most of the time it's down to the opponent. Like, you pick your team based upon who you're playing against. So I don't even think a best 11 exists when you've got a squad like ours anymore, to be fair. D says, are you doing a show on Sunday, Tom? The Leeds game is going to be crucial. Yes, I will be. But obviously, I hope I make it back from Leeds. It's a bit of a tight turnaround travel. So I'll be back at midnight usually, if that's the case. But yeah, luckily we haven't got many more big trips, but it's a long one. Amira says, how are the other strikers in the league performing this season? Are they all generally also underperforming? Do you think Gyökeres would thrive in other clubs, or that other strikers would at ours? How are other strikers in the league performing right now? Shall we have a look at how other strikers in the league are performing right now? We can definitely do that. Let's go to Premier League. If I do that, will it show me? Sometimes it used to show me, like Premier League top scorers. Premier League top scorers. Here we go. So the current top scorer in the Premier League with 20 goals is Erling Haaland, striker. The second best scorer in the Premier League with 16 goals is Igor Thiago, striker. The fourth best goal scorer in the league with 9 goals is Calvert-Lewin, striker. The joint fifth highest goal scorer in the league is João Pedro with 8, centre forward. As is Ekitike, centre forward. As is Ollie Watkins, centre forward. As is Danny Welbeck, centre forward. As is Jean-Philippe Mateta, centre forward. Next on that list, we go from 8 to 7. Voltemada, centre forward. Richarlison, centre forward. Even Jared Bowen's been playing centre forward. He's been scoring. Krupi for Bournemouth. I think Krupi's a centre forward. I know he's played kind of like deeper at times as well, but yeah, centre forward. So the whole centre forwards aren't doing too well. I don't think it's right, is it? I don't think it's really that true. When we actually have a look at the league, and we have a look at the top scorers, like Calvert-Lewin signed this summer, doing really well. I think Thiago was signed last year, doing really well. João Pedro signed this summer, 8 goals. Ekitike signed this summer, 8 goals. So yeah, Voltemada, 7 goals. So yeah, Gyökeres is on 5 at the moment. Yeah, look, I don't think the striker argument really makes sense. The big money ones, like Isak's out injured, Ekitike is scoring, Voltemada's got 7, is the joint 5th highest goal scorer in the Premier League. 5th, right? 6th highest, I think, or the 6th most amount of goals. Thiago's doing well. Calvert-Lewin's doing really well. So yeah, look, I don't know if the striker argument really lands. I'm not sure that it does. Gary says, "Are we at the stage? Are we at the stage of signing top class stars, or do we sign project players?" No, we need to sign. I mean, in a way, you can sign both, but I mean, the priority has to be now on Arsenal signing players that deliver, which is why I want to see Alvarez in the summer. I think, if Arsenal can move on one of their centre forwards and replace them with Alvarez, we've done very, very well there. LSG says, "I hear you, Tom. Odegaard's captaincy convo is jarring." And this comes from the LSG who put the comment in about it, obviously. Personally, I love him. I just feel his game currently is tense. Look, if you need to know why Odegaard is captain, all you need to do is listen to Arsenal's players talk about Odegaard and captaincy. And that's the reason why he's captain. It really is as simple as that. I asked Declan Rice myself about Odegaard captaincy during the game against PSG. Let me see if I can find you the exact quote, because it's somewhere. I don't really want to play the video just in case it flags it. And let me see if I can find it. Amazing. No, he definitely used the word amazing, I think, in his argument. Can't find it. I know this is great podcast viewing. I'm trying to find it for you desperately. Without the video is what I want. Yeah. Manager discussion revealed a start of text. No, it's not that one. It's not that one. He says Odegaard is out of this world. Is that? Yeah, is this it? I think this might be it. Come on, load. He's really, really good. The main thing as a captain is to have the respect of everyone, and he has that. When he says something, everyone listens. He's got the calm presence about him, which I feel is really good and a key in a leader. He's not one to be shouting his head off, but if something needs to be said, he'll say it. He'll say it in a calm way. The other good thing is there's other players around him, experienced players like Jorginho and Partey and Gabby, who's played in big matches and know what it is about and to help out as well. I feel we've got a really good group. Odegaard is just an out-of-this-world number 10. He's so special. He just makes everything happen out of nothing. He's probably the best trainer. He's just so elegant, just everything down to the way he lives his life, how he treats his game as a professional. He's one of the best I've seen. He knows what it's like to play for this club. He was here through the tough times, and now he's come through that as well. That's not even the quote I was thinking of, but it's another quote from Declan Rice on him. Norgaard, 2 days ago, said, "Martin is a very unbelievable guy, really well liked and well respected by everyone at the club. Talk about standards. He's the one who walks the walk. Captains wear different capes. Martin's one of them. I was one of them at Brentford, but I think you can be different types of captains and be a very good one." You just need to listen to what the Arsenal players say about him, and that's why he's captain. It really is as simple as that. As I said, if they wanted to choose another captain, they do a vote at the start of every season, and I'm going to be very blunt with you here. I trust the players' judgment a lot more than I do us, so I'm going to go with them. So yeah, and it was 100% vote. Aman says, on the pitch, performances matter more. Odegaard literally gets pushed off the ball. Aman's not a fan, I think. I'm going to take a leap of faith and just assume he's not a fan. Paul says, great content, Tom. Thanks, everyone, for their questions. Oh, what a laugh you guys and girls are having. Have given me on this dog walk. So many funny reactions. Hey, look, I need to make it fun. I try. I'll do my best. Franklin says, the players know more about Odegaard than we do. Probably best to just accept he's the captain and will be so until at least the end of the season. I mean, he will be until he's gone. I just don't see the captaincy being taken off of him. I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening. Arsenal says, why was he taken off against Man United if he's such a great captain? Oh, yes. Sorry. He had a bad game, like many others. I mean, he was one of 4, I think, taken off at the same time. I know I shouldn't give energy to these questions, but I try and give everybody the respect of answering all your questions, even the silly ones. Jonathan says, Arteta himself wasn't always on the pitch while he was club captain, but we can see he's a good leader. You don't strip someone of captaincy if they are a good leader despite performances. Jonathan says, I repeat, I'm going to stop reading out comments that don't spell Viktor's name right. I'm just going to make it a rule, right? If I spot that Viktor's been spelt wrong, I'm just not going to read the comment out. It's really bugging me, right? It really does bug me. It's so, and I know now I'm putting loads of pressure on myself. Then every article I write and every blog I do and every post I put out, if I dare mistakenly spell Viktor's name wrong just once, I deserve all the criticism you can throw my way, and I will take it and I'll own it. But I'm not reading out comments anymore that spell his name wrong. I'm just not doing it. I'm just not going to do it. I refuse. I'm paying this man the respect he deserves. Mike says, stop it, Tom. You're no longer an English teacher. I never was. So Thomas says, why are we complaining about Odegaard, and is Arteta ruining these maverick attacking midfielders and their creativity? I'm not hating Arteta. I love and support him. I think it's just the way the Premier League is at the moment. I honestly just think it is. I just think that it's the way the Premier League is right now, that attacking creative midfielders aren't necessarily the most impactful players. I mean, if you look at the attacking midfielders right now and like the players that are like having the biggest impact in games, it's players like Rodgers, you know, like a goal-scoring attacking midfielder. Enzo Fernandez, you could argue, has kind of grown into that ilk as well. The classic like 10s, the creative string pullers, you know, they don't seem to be adapted best to this iteration of the Premier League. I don't know how many assists Havertz got last season for Leverkusen. I can't say I watched loads of Havertz last season. I'll be very honest with you. Last season, he still managed to get 7 assists this season, Havertz, across all competitions. 3 goals, 2 assists. Yeah, he got 15 assists last season, 13 in the Bundesliga, 10 goals. So, yeah, look, I just don't think it's a league for those types, is it? I just don't think it's a league at the moment for these types. Arsenal says, why is it wrong to look to your captain to stay on the pitch and get a result for the team? Well, if he's not having a good game, I'd rather he was replaced, wouldn't you? If he's not having a good game, I'd rather we brought somebody else on who can have a better performance. No? Yeah, and to be honest, I think people are putting way too much stock in the armband these days. Arsenal have about 5 different captains in their squad. He's just the one who wears the armband. You know, Arsenal have several leaders in this group. It's not like it's 10 people just following one guy. We have a lot of different leaders, you know. And also, aren't we like top of everything at the moment as well? I swear we are. Coco says, Premier League doesn't give space for the Mavericks, but this gives hope to getting a new type of player, that Ronaldinho flair and dribbling, but the engine of industrious runs of Declan. White was indeed captain last night. Yes, so it was great to see Ben White take the armband. I really did enjoy seeing that. D says the numbers prove it. Only 2 players are scoring over 10 goals by January this season. There was 8. It's a great stat. There is 3 at the moment. Semenyo, Thiago, and Haaland. I've got 11, but Semenyo's got 11, Thiago got 16, Haaland's got 20. But yeah, I mean, Semenyo's not a striker, but like when it comes to people in double digits, the fact there was 8 in January last season at this stage in double digits says a lot about the Premier League this season. It absolutely does. Anyway, I've been going for over an hour now, and it's been a long one. Thank you so much as always for tuning in. People really appreciate your time. I've enjoyed this one. It's been good. I enjoyed the Old English section. That was quite fun. Thank you for those that prompted. Just try and be nice to one another. We're winning. We're top of everything. We've just won all 8 games in the Champions League. Try and be nice to one another. It'd be great if we could. You know, just chill out a bit. Just try and chill. Try and calm. Just as Emery would say, calm. Just calm. Please calm down. Thank you so much for listening. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with you. There may be a pre-recorded show tomorrow because the press conference is early. So I won't be able to do it live, but I'll do my absolute best to try and get you a show. No promises, but I'll try and do my absolute hardest to get you a show tomorrow. Okay? Other than that, I think the same will be the case. I'll be very honest with you. Just let me check my train for Leeds. Is it the next 2 shows? Could be. Yeah, my train is at 8 o'clock on Saturday. So I'm not going to be here with you live for the next 2 days. I'll try my best to get you 2 shows if I can, one for tomorrow, one for Saturday. But I am otherwise traveling. So apologies for that in advance. I always try my best to get you a show, even if I'm not around to do one. So look out for those. Drop a like on the videos and in the chats tomorrow, because there will still be a live chat, so you still can tune in and talk to each other if you enjoy that sort of thing. And you can remind everybody to like the video. So, yeah, I wish I could do it live on the train, Coco, but the Wi-Fi is nowhere near good enough to do that. So, yeah, not possible. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy and respectful. And as always, up the Arsenal.